What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Weekend Zone. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We have a lot to get into. We're talking about Victor Oladipo. We're getting into an update with the Washington football team as they continue their rebrand process. And, of course, we're clapping back at some of your ridiculous comments. Get excited for that. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @JRayTheFanatic.
All right, let's jump right into our first honorable mention. We're talking about Victor Oladipo. He recently turned down a 2-year, $45.2 million max contract extension, which is the most that the franchise could offer him before the end of the regular season. Right now, he is pushing for a longer-term deal. Jackie, what is your immediate reaction to this? Was this a good move on Victor Oladipo's part?
I think so, because everything that I've read said that Victor Oladipo really doesn't want to be there long term. He ultimately wants to end up with Miami. I don't know if that's actually, I think that might actually work for Miami. But if it doesn't, he can always double back to this. But I'm a big fan of, if there's some place you specifically want to be, try to get there, because it's just going to be better for your mental health. This does say a lot, though, about that franchise, because it seems like even the money doesn't even want to get somebody like Victor Oladipo to stay. So if this is what he wants, I really want him to go ahead and do that. So I wouldn't have turned down this kind of money. But at the same time, me turning down this kind of money doesn't mean that I might get this money somewhere else. So since he has a possibility of not only getting at least some good money somewhere else and somewhere that he really wants to be, I applaud him for standing his ground and not being lured by the money and trying to get something that he really wants.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that it's awesome for him to look into what other options there are for him and not accept this 2-year max contract extension right out of the gate. Obviously, the Rockets this season are not doing that well. So if he has championship aspirations, maybe the Rockets will improve next season, over the next 2 years or whatever, after that for that contract extension, but I don't know. Right now, he's probably not that happy. Let's move on to the Washington football team. So obviously they did some major moves last year in rebranding. They got rid of their derogatory former mascot team name, and now they're known as the Washington football team. But in an effort to continue trying to be more inclusive and be more about equality and just like non-discriminatory behavior, they have decided they will not have cheerleaders in 2021. So instead, after 50 seasons with a consistent cheerleading presence, they're going to have a co-ed dance squad take the field for their game day entertainment. Petra Pope, who is the club's newly hired senior advisor, told USA Today that the new dance squad looks to become more modern and more diverse, with a skill set of being super athletic, which is what we're really honing in on. They said that they're doing this in an effort to be more inclusive, and they're going to be able to do more things with the strength of a male, like different kinds of lifts. So that's changed a great deal. The inclusivity, strength, and interest of choreography has changed. Now, the one thing I want to say is I have seen all female cheerleading squads do some pretty remarkable things. In fact, I have been on those kinds of cheerleading squads where we were doing everything the co-ed squads were doing. I think it is cool that they are inviting men to be a part of it. I think that that is definitely a step towards inclusivity, but I just wonder, I don't know. I mean, I sort of feel almost neutral about this. Like, okay, you do you, Washington football team, but Jackie, what's your take on this?
There's a side of me that wants to feel the way that you feel. Like I love co-ed cheer squads. I'm cool with all female cheer squads. I do think we're going to see a different style entirely, which I think will be good for the ladies. Hopefully they get some good looking guys out there, because I feel like guys always have something to look at with cheerleaders and we never do. So hopefully there'll be some good looking guys, which I'm all for that. But there's a side of me that I can't take it too seriously, because we do remember there was that huge scandal that Washington had with their cheerleading squad where there was some inappropriate behavior. So to me, I'm like, is this really, I need to know kind of more what went on behind the scenes. Is this really hey, we want to be more inclusive? Or is this one of those things where it's like, hey, we want to make sure that this never happens again, which I wouldn't be mad at that if that's your intentions, to make sure this never happens again. But are you kind of taking a backhanded way to kind of punish these women who might have been involved in that? It's hard for me to trust that franchise, even though, they hired a black president of football operations, which they definitely seem to be trying to go in a different direction. But to me, it's all still feel like a mask, because don't forget, Dan Snyder said he would rather die than to change, the name. And we know that Dan Snyder had a lot of sexual misconduct that was covered up for him. So it's hard for me to take this seriously, like, oh, this is a very progressive move forward, more than I take it as this is just them trying to cover their tracks. But ultimately, I think it's a good thing. I just can't give it the credit that it deserves, because it's Washington.
Yeah, but I feel you on that, and I think you bring up a great question, like, what really is the motivation here? Is it to be more inclusive, or is it covering up a larger issue within that franchise? Yeah, I mean, this is one of the stories where I'm kind of like, oh, okay, like, cool. I feel like an all-female cheerleading squad would have accomplished exactly what you were hoping for, but I have nothing against men coming in and participating. I think male cheerleaders are awesome. So we'll see what happens, but that's the update with the Washington football team, and that wraps up honorable mentions.
Okay, all right, let's get into this athlete trash talk, because if you guys watched Fumble Live, you know that I like Joel Embiid, but sometimes he gets on my nerves. This is not one of those times. Last week it was one of those times. This is one of those good old-fashioned trash talks. He's a big man. He's pretty fierce in what he does, and I love that. And then a Monday, he had his best game in place, and they beat the Pacers 130-114. And he had something to say to Myles Turner with regards to how that whole thing shook down and how he basically handled him. And I'm gonna let you see this clip, but he basically said, he can't, I dominate that situation. I own him, is what he said. Take a look.
I said it respectfully, but that's a matchup that I've dominated, my whole, since I got to the league. Great defender.
So, Devin, is this trash talk warranted? I'm for it. Do you think this is warranted trash talk from Joel Embiid?
I mean, I think it's fine. I don't think I feel as strongly as he does. And when I was looking at the responses on Twitter, there was a lot of people who were very divided. But you know what? Yeah, like, if he feels like, I don't know, if he feels like this is the kind of matchup that he's dominated since he's gotten to the league, whatever, do it. You got it. But I like that he says, I say this respectfully. It's like, I don't think there's any way to really be that respectful about it. So I thought it was funny. I think it was warranted, justified.
So this next one, we all wondered, because we remember when Devin Booker was ejected. We talked about that earlier in the week as well. We thought that his ejection from the game was not warranted, and it was definitely one of those situations where the refs were overstepping. But apparently we know now what Devin Booker said. I'm just going to read this to you, but see if you can figure out this riddle, because when he was frustrated, apparently this is the phrase that got him ejected. And this is coming from Tyler Drake of the Arizona Sports 98.7. He says, I just couldn't believe in such a high tense game, an important game, that would come down that quickly. But we have a team, and it showed it last night. And so Devin Booker just basically saying what he felt about the situation. But the point is he said a word to the official that rhymes with switch or itch. And so I'm trying really hard here. So if he did say a word that rhymes with that, do we walk it back, and do we say that is definite trash talk from Devin Booker to the ref, and he deserved to be ejected?
Oh gosh, that's tough. I mean, obviously, if you're gonna go to like an NBA official and call them a foul word like that, like, that's not something that can really be looked past. But I also understand where these athletes are coming from, where D-Book was coming from. Tensions are so high in the game, it's so competitive, and there's a lot on the line, and to be able to like think about what you're going to say before you say it all the time is really hard in that kind of situation. I mean, if he is out there using profane language and calling a ref a B word, then I don't know, maybe I'm looking on that situation a little less sympathetically towards D-Book. Where do you stand on it?
Yeah, definitely. And that definitely explains, because we saw KCP and Dennis Schroeder all look at him kind of like, what did you just say? So that explains that look, because I couldn't figure that look out. So I do think he probably did say something like this. And I love Devin Booker. And I know all of us have had those moments where we just kind of get in a moment of passion and we say things. But at the same time, do I think you should eject him from the game? Maybe, can we just start fining people if they say stuff like this? I don't want a game to be ruined just because you decide to eject him. You know what I mean? Like, that's just...
Right, like in the heat of the moment, you say something. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, ejections are happening so often right now where it's just like, it seems like out of nowhere, these players are just getting thrown out. Yeah, he shouldn't get away with calling somebody a B word, but I don't know. Yeah, I think a fine makes more sense. But then again, there's so much that needs to change with the way we ref NBA games. Like, that whole thing needs to be flipped on its head. So lots to tackle there.
Totally agree. But that's all I have for Athlete Trash Talk. So let's get into these comment clapbacks.
Yes.
All right. I'm anxious. I'm very anxious. So let's just throw this first one up there and see what we got. Okay, so this is on the Steph Curry LeBron video. I don't even think it matters what video it's on, because it says the fumble just gets worse. Time to block them. All garbage reaching Jews. I'm going to say this again. I feel like I need to create a banner. If you decide to unsubscribe or if you decide to block us, no announcement is needed. You can just do that and go about your way. We do not care enough for your announcement. So I will do my best wave goodbye to you, and you can be gone, sir.
No one's gonna miss you. No one's gonna care. Go ahead and block us. We literally do not care. Leo, let's get the next comment up there. Why create this negative narrative? Shaking my head. Man, I tell ya, the media is something else. Okay, so I did this video where I talked about what Steph Curry said, and I definitely acknowledged that it wasn't just a jab at LeBron James. I acknowledged that it was just, he said something. I didn't create a narrative. Steph went out and said something that we took a soundbite and we talked about it. So everybody gets so mad when we relay what the player said and then we offer our own commentary on it. That is literally what the fumble is. That is what the fumble is. We talk about the news. We give our opinions on the news. If you want straight news, if you don't want any opinion, go watch some other thing. Go watch ESPN or whatever. But no, we give our opinions, and that's why you're here, because you want to hear our opinions and you want to get mad about it. So there's that.
Yeah, and that's the definition of commentary, guys. Commentary, you give your opinion. So good try, though. But let's move on to this next comment. Oh, my God. I hate these long ones. Okay, look, let's get into this one. This one is on the LaMelo Ball claps back at NBA. The fumble finally got over 10,000 views for the first time in years. That's not a factual statement, but let's move on. 1 million followers and on average 1,000 views. This channel dead ASF. How does it still have people willing to work for it? Y'all probably get paid $25 a year. Can't even give it to us an hour, huh? All right, $25 a year from this, you know what? Or gotta have 2 jobs on the side with the garbage you call the fumble. Only thing y'all fumbling is the bag. Get your money up. I'm sorry. Stay out of my pockets, sir. You do not know how much money you don't know how much money I got saved. You don't know how liquid I am, sir. So yeah, stay out of my pocket.
Also, once again, just to be the petty grammar queen that I am, if you're gonna go on there and write a novel insulting us about how much we earn or whatever, please just use some punctuation. I don't want to read a whole long run-on sentence. And also the fact that you say we haven't gotten more than 10,000 views in a year, honey, no. I've had a video that got 800,000 views, and that was just a few months ago. So you can relax.
Do better.
Yes. Okay, Leo, let's get into the final comment clapback. This is probably the worst sports channel ever, and yet you're here, Call Me Trey. You are sitting right there and you're commenting. Thank you so much for that. It always helps us out when you guys leave a comment. Jackie, do you have anything that you want to say to that person?
except for I saw them on like 4 other videos. So if we're that bad, watch the one and move on. Why are you still watching? Why?
But you know what? Honestly, if you want to go and write the same comments on every single one of our videos, go ahead. The algorithm really likes it when we get a lot of comments, so say whatever you want to say. We invite it. The trolls, the negativity, the hatred, the drama gives us something to talk about here on Weekend Zone too, so thanks for that. All right. That wraps up Weekend Zone. We hope you guys have a fabulous Saturday today. Make sure you leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell. We are going live on Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's a new time, you guys. 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you want to be there and tune in live, just make sure you hop on at 9 a.m. PT, and we'll see you guys then. Have a great weekend. Bye, everyone.